Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for February 2016. Check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see more about my astrology and other blogs, and also you can see more about my upcoming astrology apprenticeship program. So what's going on in February? There are so many opportunities this month. That is the big key word. Opportunities and action are the two themes. And I'll give you more details about why I say that is so. This month is full of aspects with 60-degree angles. 60-degree angles are a harmonious, gentle, wonderful aspect. But they're the kind that get even sweeter if you do a little bit of work. What I'm likening this to this month is baked pears. If you've ever baked pears, ripe pears, then you know that they're really good on their own. Just like that, just like this 60-degree angle is. But if you drizzle honey on top of it, on top of them, then they get so much better. And that is what the energy of this 60-degree angle. And we have lots of 60-degree angles on the 3rd, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 13th. Beautiful angles. On some days, more than one with different planets. So this is the kind of month where you want to add a little honey to the pears that come in. Okay, so it's a complicated month in the way that some of the astrological attributes of it are not ones that you may usually say, hey, this is a time for action. Like for instance, February up to February 15th, we still have Mercury getting back to its normal flow from when it was retrograde in January. Mercury rules communication, transportation, and the modes of transportation and the methods of expression and communication. So devices and vehicles, and it rules a lot in our daily experience. So when it goes retrograde, things start to happen with those, things break down. There's things that have to be addressed, things gone back over. And so usually I advise wait until Mercury has close to its full steam, which in this case would be close to February 15th. But when you place February on the calendar, the 2016 calendar, it is much better for taking action than most other months. You're not going to have a month that's really great for your taking initiative to make action until after August, like into September, and even then things get complicated, which we'll talk more about that at the time. So this is your month for now to take action. So even though half the month is full of Mercury getting back to steam, its full steam, and then even though Mars starts its pre-shadow retrograde on February 18th, Mars only goes retrograde once every 2-ish years. Eventually I'm going to do a Mars retrograde video. It might be into March, so be on the lookout for it. But I'll give you a little bit here. Mars rules your oomph. It's your get up and go. It's your drive. It's your ambition. It's the source of your energy, your gusto. And when it's retrograde, which is for about, it's retrograde from April 17th through June 29th of 2016, April 17th through June 29th, but the shadow periods before and after make this full transit about a 6-month transit. So you don't have Mars full support for 6 months from the end of February through the end of August. Now, how it works with these shadow periods is that the earlier in the shadow period you are, like in February, this part of the shadow period, it's the least potent. A sensitive person would be very aware of it, and you can definitely see manifestations of it. But it gets stronger with every day from the end of February that it moves closer to April 17th. Every day it gets stronger. And the same thing afterwards. Every day after June 29th, when it's direct, it starts waning in its influence, you know? So here in February, even though half the month is covered with Mercury post-shadow and half the month's covered with Mars pre-shadow retrograde, it's still the best month of all this time to take action on things. That, coupled with all of these 60-degree angles that really want you to put honey on the pears, is you can see why this story is forming of it's a time to take action. Now, another piece that's very important here is that the eclipses are in March, and I will talk way more about what the eclipses can do for you individually, the effects that you will likely have, or the potentials I'll talk about those in the March report, but I want to mention that this is coming because it's very relevant. March 8th, we have a solar eclipse at 18 degrees of Pisces. March 23rd, we have a lunar eclipse at 3 degrees of Libra. Solar eclipses bring in massive new openings, opportunities. Lunar eclipses bring very complete closings or issues that come to a head and then are resolved. Usually they're called non-negotiable. There's an ending of a sort that you don't have any say in. So up to 6 weeks before each of those dates, March 8th and March 23rd, you can start to have news or pieces of the story or circumstances or events that are eclipse related that are coming in. So February is prime time to start getting news from these eclipses. And some of them are going to be opportunities that you have to take action on. And some of them are going to be changes in trajectory that are unsettling to you because you're moving in a certain direction and it takes you in a different direction. So there is the chance that even though February is the best time to push your personal agenda, so your plan for yourself, your list of things, your goals, your vision, that's your personal plan. Then there's the divine plan. And the eclipses tend to bring about more of the divine plan. So if there's a large disparity between your plan and the divine plan, then you're going to have a major trajectory shift. That's not going to feel comfortable sometimes. So if you see that this is happening, then just trust the process, because retrospectively, when you look back on this time and this journey, you'll see in many ways that this shift is putting you closer to what you're supposed to be doing, even if it seems like it's taking you out of the way. That's the nature of eclipses. So in summary, February is this wonderful time to push your agenda, but if something happens that seems to be taking you off of it, the more readily you can shift to the new plan and get on cue with the new plan, the more wonderful and easiest you're going to have as this experience. Okay, so basically resistance is much of the cause of human suffering. We're resisting something, we're letting go of something that happened, we're resisting change that's occurring, something like that. People suffer tremendously from resistance, and eclipse time is this huge time, and the time before it and the time right after it, February being one of those times, where the less you can resist it, the more happy you're going to be, you know? So just kind of take your hands off the wheel and see what happens if something is different than what you are doing. But if you are taking action on things that are in the plan, then you'll get a powerful boost with what you're doing. So just stay on track and then be responsive to the signs that come from the universe about whether you're supposed to be continuing on that track or not. So let's see what else. Let's talk about where these opportunities are likely to come. Some eclipse related opportunities, we'll talk about those in March. But the opportunities that will come from the beautiful aspects in February, all Virgos are going to have a chance to have these opportunities in the 5th house, because a lot of the planets that are involved with the aspects that are occurring are going to be accentuating this 5th house, plus just the planets moving through the 5th house would bring opportunities. The 5th house is the house of children, your own or others. It's the creation process from conception to birth to child rearing. And that is of things that are not actual human children. Sometimes our creative projects feel like children that we're birthing. And that whole creative process for a project is governed in this 5th house. This is the house of athleticism. Anyone who is an athlete will have a lot of support here. Art of every kind, creativity, acting, directing, anything having to do with thespian affairs, anything having to do with theater, things like that. Singing, playing instruments, musical, anything is here. Also here are hobbies, things that you just do for fun, and fun itself. It's also called the house of true love, and it's called the house of romance. So you can see a link here between the true love and the romance and the conception and the pregnancy and the baby, you know, this whole, all of that energy is 5th house stuff. And lots of opportunities that you can take action on for all Virgos, early, middle, and late, can happen here. So breaking it down into early, middle, and late, if you've never heard of this before, or if you have and you're still learning about what this means, there's 30 degrees worth of the Virgo sign. So there's 30 days in the year where Virgo, the sun was in Virgo. And if you break down those 30 days into increments of 10, so like August 24th, or if you're a 23rd, like right when the sign starts, for the next 10 days until like the first day of September is early. And then around the 2nd through the 11th is the middle. And then around the 12th through the 22nd is the late. The reason why I say around is because the sun doesn't move into a different sign on the same exact day every year. Sometimes it goes into a different day, and then that will change where the 30 degrees fall. So we say around. Okay, and this is the same for your ascendant or your rising sign if you're watching because you have a Virgo rising. 0 through 9-ish degrees is going to be early, and then 10 through 19 is going to be middle, and then 20 through 29 is going to be late degree. This is very relevant. I wouldn't add an element that would seem to confuse you unless I really believed that it could help you. The chart of early, middle, and late degree placements can look drastically different, especially when you compare early to late, because it just looks different. That's the best that I can tell you. Certain things that are going on for the early people, they don't have that going on for the late people yet. It's totally irrelevant to them. And some things still hanging on that happened for early and middle degree placements that are happening for late degree placements are very current at a certain time. But the early and middle, they're not working with those things anymore. So I like to speak to those things in the reading. So I said that all Virgo early, middle, and late placements will have these opportunities in the 5th house. Early degree placements will also have opportunities in the 6th house. And this energy of focus on the 6th house is coming for the rest of the middle and late degree placements. It's just happening first for the early degree. And the 6th house has to do with your health and your daily interactions, medical tests, medical procedures, lab work, alternative medical things, diet, nutrition, supplements, exercise, yoga, acupuncture, meditation, things that relate to a daily type of a schedule or a regimen are all in the 6th house, as are things having to do with pets or animals. So if you work with animals, this could be strongly highlighted, or if you have your own pets, or perhaps this energy could bring animal energy in where it's not usually a focus for you. Early degree placements have opportunities there. Middle and late degree placements have opportunities in the 4th house. The 4th house has to do with home, family, upbringing, childhood, the study of things involving childhood and upbringing, or things involving children in the time that they're being most imprinted. Also actual houses, things having to do with houses, real estate, design, anything like that having to do with actual houses, construction, things like that. So you might have a home or house or family related opportunity as these 60-degree angles come and bless the planets that are moving through that 4th house. It's going to enliven them even more. Also, the early and middle degree placements are going to have opportunities in the 3rd house. And the 3rd house is the house ruled by Mercury, which we talked about before with the retrograde, having to do with communication and transportation. It also has to do with mobility or general mobility and relatives that are not your parents or children. So like brothers, sisters, stepbrothers, half-brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, things like that. So opportunities can come with those types of relatives as well. And then the late degree placements will not have that 3rd degree presence yet. That will come, but you still have some energy in the 2nd house, which is all about how you make money. It's your earned income. It's your financial picture. It's your material security space. So blessings could come there. I am going to post a Jupiter blog, and I'll be doing more of this in the future. I'm working very hard to make some comprehensive blogs on transits that are longer term, so that when they come up in the reading and I just dance across mentioning some possibilities, that you can then use the early, middle, and late designation of where your placement is to go to my blog and read more about the possibilities. So Jupiter will be the first one, partly because Jupiter is usually super fun. It can bring challenges, but it's usually bringing exciting, expansive growth opportunities. The second thing is that it's my ruling planet, so I know it very well. So for early and middle degree Virgos, you have Jupiter, the great expander, the bringer of opportunities, in your 1st house. It's also for all of you in your sign. So this is a magical year when you have Jupiter gracing your sign, whether it's for your ascendant, your rising sign, or your sun sign, or your moon sign. sometime along the year, expansion is very likely. It brings good luck and chances for planting seeds that will set the precedence for the next 12 years. It's a 12-year cycle. So the first house has to do with your identity and your well-being and your vitality and your physical body and your image and your self-esteem. So many Virgos are undergoing a major transformation with how they see themselves, how they're presenting themselves into the world. Many people will have had a certain profession for a long time, but they've really felt something else brewing, and this could be the time that you're bringing it out into the world, saying, hey, I'm not just that, I'm also this. This is how I see myself. How you see yourself and what you're presenting to the world, making that match more. The later degree placements still have this energy before they haven't gotten up to the first house yet. So you would look for early and middle degree, you have Jupiter in the first house. And then the later degree placements, you still have Jupiter in the 12th house. So the 12th house has to do with intuition and rest and sabbatical and connection with the divine and things that happen in dream time. This is one of the psychology houses. So seeing the things that are motivating you, the psychological motivations, and clearing out blocks. If you believe in past lives, this is also there. Anything having to do with hypnosis, your unconscious mind, your deep unconscious mind. This is also a very major house of intuition. And people will find that as Jupiter moves through the 12th house, they might find that their intuition, their recognizing of things happening before they come, or their feelings they get about things, can be very much enhanced. So go to my astrology blog, anniehelpsyou.com, and then search on the blog for Jupiter. And then if you're early or middle degree placement, like the beginning of the sign around August 23rd, 24th through like around September 11th, then you will look more for Jupiter in the first house. And then if you are later, like 12th and through the rest of the sign, then you'll look for the 12th house, and you can see more about that. So I can't see what's going on in your chart. If you'd like to have a reading with me, you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, where you will get, as one of the perks of being part of my community, a monthly write-up for the month ahead talking about dates that are good for certain things, challenging for certain things. So you have it for your planning purposes. Often I go in more detail about dates than I do in the horoscope reading video. So check that out. Check out my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is intended to help you bring your shine into the world. And with Jupiter going through your sign, there could be no better time than now for that. It's also available on a sliding scale. And definitely check out my blog. There'll be new things there all the time. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.